On this adventure, we tackle some classic slate trad routes at Dinorwig. Take a beginner trad climber soloing.
Is this the new frontier for Richard?
And take on a 300-metre scramble in extremely windy conditions. Oh dear. Just had our first drone accident. Another day, another weekend trip in the van. We are here in North Wales, near Llanberis Pass. We're here with our friend Richard, who's joined us this weekend in the hopes of doing some climbing and scrambling, although we'll see how successful we are in that. We have woken up to slightly less than ideal conditions. It's very windy and all the rock is soaking wet.
It is dry.
It's not dry.
It's very wet.
It's close enough to dry. 5 more minutes and some wind.
It's soaking wet.
So the original plan was to head to the slate quarries in Dinorwig. I think we're going to swing by that way. On our way to Anglesey, which is the backup plan. Hopefully it's not wet there.
Thank you. What do you want to climb this weekend?
Something dry. I would like to climb dry rock. That would be ideal. It would be nice to do maybe a HVS E1. Rob was suggesting Fool's Gold at Bus Stop Quarry, which I have done before on second. But when I did it on second, it was nails. At least I found it nails. Also, the weather does not really lend itself to trad climbing this weekend, at least not today. It's howling an absolute gale, and it's also kind of wet. As it turned out, the Anglesey backup plan wasn't actually necessary. It seemed that the rain had been purely confined to a singular Welsh valley, and Rob's boundless optimism was for once proved correct as we made our way through Ogwen and onto the slate quarries, where we were greeted with bright sunshine and a warm breeze. We have arrived back in the slate quarries, and it's actually, thankfully, miraculously dry. Somehow the rain was only in the valley that we were sleeping overnight in. Now that we've come around the corner and come up to Dinorwig, it's actually perfect conditions really. Richard is currently getting a lesson in trad climbing. I think he's only ever done one V-diff before, and Rob thinks it's a grand old idea to send him up his first VS.
I'm excited.
Excited?
Yeah. Looks cool. Nice line.
Rob also has grand old plans for me to do Fool's Gold, which is the E1 I'm looking at now. I've just checked out the UKC comments, and people seem to think that the ever so important flake does not have much life left in it. We will see if it holds. Equinox is a fun little line and follows an obvious line of weakness diagonally up the wall. It's a route that both Rob and I have led in the past, and although it's somewhat soft in the grade for VS, it's certainly an excellent introduction to slate climbing. As evidenced here, it was easily dispatched by Richard, possibly even too easily given what he did next.
It was great. It's really nice.
Yeah?
Good holds. Quite flowy.
Good gear?
Yeah, good gear placements, yeah. I'd rather have not placed any gear and just
Soloed it.
yeah. Kind of interrupted my flow.
I then seconded the route, giving what I thought was constructive feedback about the quality of the gear placements.
Lucy's currently critiquing Richard's placements, but she's giving him a real thrashing for some of those poor ones.
Like one of the, maybe the purple or the gold one,
Okay.
because it would have sat a bit higher up.
Yeah,
It wouldn't have dropped down so far.
Yeah.
He's flawless in every way. You always carry ropes as if you're carrying a fish.
It's my what? Yeah, it's my fish.
Great catch.
Thanks.
So with a bit of coaching, Richard just sent his first VS and he made it look bloody easy. So I think we're going to have to up the ante a little bit. Maybe send him up an E1 or a HVS or something.
I really do want to solo. I wasn't joking.
Alright.
Richard claims he's going to solo the climb.
I'd rather have not placed any gear and just...
Soloed it.
Yeah.
Is this the new frontier for Richard? Boulderer to sport climber to trad climber to free soloist to dead in about a month. It might be. Brilliant.
Whilst Richard may only have just led the second trad route of his life and was now embarking on his first solo, he is in fact a very strong climber, and more to the point, he knows what his limits are. It's definitely not common to begin your outdoor climbing career with soloing, but being a pretty competent V8 to 9 boulderer, all we could do was look on in fascination, or in Rob's case jealousy, as he made short work of Equinox all over again, except this time without a rope. And it wasn't long before Rob developed a strong sense that he was missing out on something exciting, and joined Richard in a solo ascent of Equinox Wall. I have to admit I was more anxious about Rob's ascent simply due to his uncoordinated style of climbing. Then again, this route was obviously well within both of their grades, and nobody fell off. Although when it was my turn to climb, I chose to remain with a rope attached to my harness.
As it's worked out, we've all three of us got a project. Lucy's trying an E1 for the first time this year, I think. Maybe no, it was one earlier in the year, but he's trying an E1, it's their project. We've got Richard on a VS, which we picked for him, but that's his project. And I've got my eye on some harder sport route. So we'll see who sends their project and who doesn't.
Fool's Gold begins with an easy jaunt to a small roof before committing to the crux. The crux moves underneath the roof to a thin crack system where a tricky pull and a lot of smearing gains the juggy top of the hollow sounding flake.
Come on, Lucy.
Here I placed a solid wire and tried to depump as much as I could while hanging off the flake.
That's it, Lucy. So good, really good.
From here, a couple of moves gains a second smaller flake to the left. Then follows some beautiful climbing up the crack on easier ground, all of which is well protected, with a couple of decent rests to a final pull onto a large ledge.
How was that, honey?
Oh, that was brilliant! Oh my god! Yeah! Oh! Nice! Woo! Your turn next, Richard!
Safe, Richard! Richard, do you want to lead it, honestly? How was that though, Lucy? That was a proper E1, that.
That was a proper E1. Oh, I'm psyched. I'm actually psyched.
Awesome. Since I led this about like 3 or 4 years ago, it's been on the radar as a climb you can definitely do and do every time, but it was just a psychological thing. And I think you've broken that barrier now. That's just awesome to see. So good. Many more E1s to come.
I'm so mega psyched to have done that. I was very, very nervous at the bottom. Rob and Rich were busy soloing some VS whilst I was racking up, and I was just alone with my thoughts as I was putting the gear on my harness, and it's really hard to psych yourself up to do a climb. I mostly get psyched up by other people, you know, encouraging me to do it. But yeah, just so psyched. This is amazing. It was such a good route. I did have at one point a little foot slip as I was coming underneath the flake. My foot kind of scrabbled a bit on the polish, which slightly disrupted my nerve. Yeah, super happy about that. Rob then pinpointed the route on my gear, and now it was his turn to critique some of my more shoddy placements.
Brilliant lead there. This is wasn't it one of my first E1s too? Oh shit.
You see what I mean?
Slack, mate.
That nut is so bad.
Holy crap.
It's barely in the crack. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, good. You've done a really good job placing this. As good as I remember though. What a climb. I will admit though, might probably have gone a nut just here. What a fucking nice day.
I know.
What the hell happened?
I don't know.
You guys this morning in an absolute panic, the pair of you, just be parked in the one bit of rainy Wales. Nice, good lead, really good gear. Can see why you felt so confident on it. Although the run out of the top was a bit exciting.
I know. On that shitty nut as well. Richard cleaned the route on second, choosing to ignore Rob's continuous suggestions that he try and lead it, and was instead ridiculed for being a filthy boulderer. Rob then had a couple of burns on his sport project, Beltane, a crimpy and technical 7B Plus on a very blank looking section of Equinox wall.
So I was working my project Beltane, which is a 7B Plus, although it does say 7B for the tall, so I'm going to claim 7B because I definitely lagged almost all but the crux moves. I've linked both, I've linked both cruxes, but not linked them together, so I've kind of made each crux work, and then linked them from a common big jug in the middle, basically. So it's feeling quite likely, although my fingers are shredded. It was like crimping on razors. Like quite literally, I think some of those were essentially razors at the top. You crimp and pull with all your might. You just soloed a VS.
Yeah, I'm a brave boy.
What's your next goal? What's your next objective as a trad climber?
He is a brave
HVS.
I filmed Richard's rope earlier and it was crap.
It was fine.
What is this?
I'm a boulderer. I'm a boulderer. I don't know how to tie it right.
Look at this perfection.
That's a good knot. Well
Thanks,
done.
Richard.
Yeah.
We then headed over to the Serengeti area of Dinorwig, where Rob jumped on Seems the Same, an E1 with a bold upper section protected by thin micros, that are perhaps more for confidence than for anything else.
Lots of desperately small bad bits of gear. Oh my god, I hate that. Try all of your cams. Literally not a single one fits.
Despite the marginal gear placements and moderate runouts, Rob didn't seem to be having too hard a time on it.
Yeah, I'm safe. End of the day, Lucy is utterly knackered. So I suspect that we're just going to do a couple of sport routes, then head back and have some dinner.
With the daylight rapidly fading, we finished the day with some sport routes, and promptly got benighted because Richard left his phone at the crag.
Seasoned well.
Thanks. It came from a packet. Join us on part 2 of our North Wales trip, where we take on Amphitheatre Buttress, a long mountain scramble with some awesome exposure, beautiful views and one small disaster. Oh, that's a bloody long way. Also be sure to check out our online climbing shop, where we stock everything from trad gear to chalk bags. The link is in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next adventure. This is where Richard slept last night.
It's
Oh
quite
my
comfy
God.
actually. I don't know, Richard. So we
Do you fit in there?
No, I do not fit in there.